Hello, welcome back. So now coming to this new method which we use nowadays, which is called limit state method or limit state design method, and which represent a definite advancement over the traditional design philosophy. So unlike the working stress method, which is based on the calculation of working load condition alone, and unlike the ultimate load method, which based on calculation on ultimate load alone, limit state method, it aims for a comprehensive and a rational solution to the design problem by considering safety at ultimate load and serviceability at working load. So as we have seen in the previous two methods, there were some drawbacks of both of these two methods. So both, all the drawbacks are addressed in this method. So some things are taken from the traditional method and some things are taken from the uh, ultimate method. So basically, all those things are taken in this method to ensure the rationality of the design. And that is why there are new concepts which I will be discussing in this. So there are the concept of design load and another concept of design resistance. So these two value, design load and design resistance, these are related to characteristic load and characteristic resistance or strength. So design load is calculated by multiplying the load factor with characteristic load or the working load. And design resistance or design strength is calculated by dividing the maximum or yield strength of the material with some factor of safety. So like yield strength by factor of safety. So now here you can see in the working stress method, we were using or we were applying factor of safety on material strength only, while in case of ultimate load method, we were applying factor of safety to the load only. But here in case of limit state method, we apply load factor on the load and we apply safety factor on the yield strength. So therefore, we have a comprehensive and rational approach in this method. And that is why these two factors which are used in this method, they are known as partial safety factor. Partial because partially they are applied to the load and partially they are applied to the strength. And that is why now in the graph you can see the concept like the working load, the demand of working load is here, but we have exaggerated this load up to this red line. So now this working load becomes the design load, which is basically the exaggerated value of the working load, which is acting on the structure. Similarly, the design strength concept, the ultimate or yield strength of the material, we have applied factor on this yield strength, and then we get the design resistance. So design resistance is basically the fraction of the ultimate capacity or the yield strength. And then there you can see the difference between design resistance and the design load. So this difference is called safety margin. So basically, as a theory, if we say that yield strength by factor of safety should be greater than or equals to load factor multiplied by the working load. So this is the concept of this limit state. So in this formula, now I have explained the concept, which means the fraction of strength should be greater than or equals to the product of load factor and working load or working stress. Okay, so this is the concept that is being followed in limit state method. And therefore, as we apply two factors on this, one factor we apply on material strengths. So we can call it gamma M. So gamma M basically is the safety factor on material strength. And the another factor is called gamma L, which means it is basically the safety factor on the load. So we multiply this safety factor with the load, and in case of gamma M, we divide this factor with the strength of material. So these two methods basically provide adequate safety at ultimate load and adequate serviceability at service or working load. So as okay, now I got one more concept. As I have said, in the ultimate load method, the serviceability cannot be guaranteed in ultimate load method, but here in case of limit state method, it can be guaranteed in limit state method at the working load conditions. Now there are reasons why do we apply these factors, or what these factors accounts for. So if we talk about the gamma M was the safety factor on material strength. So now this factor accounts for possible deviation of the material in the structure from that assumed in design. So if there is a deviation in the material in the structure which we have used in the design, then that possible deviation can be ensured or can be accounted in case of safety factor. Similarly, possible reduction in the strength of the material. As I have mentioned, what is the characteristic strength of the material? It is basically the strength of material below which not more than 5% results fall. So to account for those 5% results, this factor accounts those results also. Similarly, there may be some manufacturing tolerance and mode of failure. Different of mode of failure can also be accounted in this factor of safety, which is gamma M. Similarly, now if we talk about why do we apply load factor, or what is the role of load factor, then we will see load factor accounts for possible deviation of the actual behavior of the structure from the analysis model. Well, in some important structures, we may make some model of the structure beforehand, and then we conduct some study on that model. So the result that model offer, these result may differ when coming to the actual structure. So those deviation can be taken care of by this method, I mean this load factor. Similarly, deviation of loads from specified value. If we have calculated some load on structures, and if in future or by chance if that load exceeds, then that exceeded load can also be taken care of by this load factor, because as we multiply this load factor with the working load, then working load is basically becomes the design load, which is the exaggerated value of the working load. Similarly, it also accounts for reduced probability that the various loads acting together will simultaneously reach the characteristic value. Yes, there may be possibility that all the loads on building may act simultaneously and may reach characteristic value. Well, this factor, this probability can be reduced if we already take the higher load than the specified. So this kind of probability can also be ensured. I mean, it can be reduced using this factor. So as I mentioned earlier, the concept of limit state is this one. Fraction of strength should be greater than or equals to the product of load factor and the action of load. Well, structure which we design using this limit state here means the failure. So basically we design any structure for a state at which they would become unfit for their intended purpose by choosing appropriate partial safety factor. So this limit state method, limit state here means the failure state. So designer usually prefer to take this name, limit state, and which means actually the failure state. So they call this method as limit state method, or you can call it failure state method also. So this limit state method seems to be more sophisticated. That is why they call it limit state method. But the concept here is we consider the failure state of structure and then we design on that failure state. So those failure state can occur due to various reasons, or if we consider what are those failure state, then we have to see them. So basically, if we try to find out the limit state, the various limit states. Now, various limit states are broadly categorized in two categories. One is limit state of strength or limit state of collapse. Another is limit state of serviceability, which means we design structure ensuring the limit state of strength as well as the limit state of serviceability. Now, limit state of strength may have various limit states like loss of equilibrium of the structures, like structure may fail if the equilibrium within the structure is lost. Similarly, loss of stability of the structure. Well, if there is no stability, then structure may fail. So we consider this kind of limit state also while designing. Failure by excessive deformation, general yielding and rupture of the structure. Yes, this is also considered in the design. Fracture due to the fatigue. Well, fatigue is also a kind of failure. If I explain fatigue, fatigue is basically a phenomena in which there are load comes on a structure in a cyclic manner. Like if I show you, if I say the failure of aluminum wire, if we try to bend aluminum wire back and forth, at least thrice or fourth, then it will break. So this breakage is because of the fatigue in that aluminum. So this fatigue failure is also considered in the design. Brittle fracture is also considered. Similarly, in case of serviceability, serviceability is largely affected by a very important criteria, that is deflection. Now, deflection, as you all know, this deflection is basically the deflected shape. So this vertical difference can be known as deflection. So this deflection should be within the permissible limit, and this permissible limit is given in the limit state method. Other serviceability criteria may be vibrations. This is considered in case of steel. Durability, well, it is related to the corrosion, as steel is a material which may be subjected to corrosion because of the exposure to the direct air. So this is also considered. And then fire protection, as steel is weak in fire, so fire protection is also ensured. Now coming to the types of actions. Well, actions broadly categorized in three categories: permanent, variable and accidental. Well, permanent action can be the dead load or the self-weight of non-structural member. Say in case of building, the non-structural member may be furniture or almirah. Similarly, self-weight of structure itself, it will be of permanent nature. It will not. It will always be there. So those kind of load are considered as permanent load. Similarly, the another load can be variable load, which means it may be varying in its magnitude and quantity. So those variable load can be live load or crane load. Crane load can be in case of industry. In industry, there are some cranes which runs on the structure column. So those crane load can be considered under the category of imposed load. And snow load in case of hilly area. Wind load again has maybe varying magnitude. Similarly, another load, very important load, is earthquake load. Earthquake load is also of varying nature. Then third category of load is accidental load. Well, accidental load can be due to the explosion, impact of vehicle and fire. So that comes under the category of accidental load. So generally we design building for by considering special loads. uh, Depending on the type of building we are designing, we consider these three category of load. Now coming to the partial safety factor. Now what should be the value of gamma L? If we need to find out the value of gamma L, well, this gamma L value is given in IS code 800/2007, and the table 4 is given in the IS code, and you can refer that to the code. And here I have given the table. Well, the load here is considered in the combination DL, LL, and CL. Well, DL is dead load, LL is live load, and CL is crane load. Well, crane load can be a part of LL. These LL and CL can be considered as IL, which is imposed load. So the factor of safety for load is taken as 1.5 in case of dead load and 1.5 in case of leading live load. Well, there are two types of live load which are given as leading load and accompanying load. Well, what is the meaning of leading load and accompanying load? Well, for example, consider there is a frame and there may be some load over this frame which may be considered as a live load. So generally live load we consider on the roof, but in case if this is a frame of industrial building, then there may be a crane also which may rest on these columns, and this crane may carry some load also. So this crane may have more impact or effect of imposed loading than we consider in case of roof. So roof may also have live load, but this crane will also have some live load, but this crane, as it will be carrying higher load, it will have more impact. So that is why the load due to the crane will be considered as a leading load, and the load on the roof will be the accompanying load. So for both these load, we consider different load factor. 1.5 for leading load, accompanying load. For accompanying load, we may consider it as 1.05 factor. Similarly, if we consider more combination, dead load, live load, crane load, and wind load or earthquake load, in that case, the load factor can be reduced to 1.2. Okay, so this is how the load factor can be taken from the IS code. Similarly, if we talk about the strength, well, we apply some factor on the strength, which is also known as safety factor, and we represent that factor as a gamma M. So this strength can be governed by different criteria like the yield strength. I think I have already mentioned what is yield strength, ultimate strength, and buckling. Buckling may be in case if there are compression member, then buckling strength are considered in those cases. So buckling may also govern the strength of member. And the other factor which governs the strength of member are the fasteners or connections. Connections are also very much important, and they also govern the strength of the structure or joint. So safety factor on material strength, they may be considered in case of yielding. We can apply partial safety factor 1.1. Well, these partial safety factor are gamma M. Earlier I have shown gamma L. Now this is gamma M. So gamma M is applied on material strength. Gamma L is multiplied with the working load. Okay, so these factor, how much these values should be taken, this value is given in the IS code, that is IS 800/2007 and table 5. If you see this table 5, there you will find the recommended value of the safety factor for various criteria. Like for yielding purpose, we will take 1.1. For buckling, we will take 1.1. But if the strength is governed on the basis of ultimate stress, then partial safety factor will be 1.25. Similarly, if we consider partial safety factor for connection, well, connection can be bolt, rivets, welds. For them, we will take different safety factor. Like if the connections are shop fabrication, well, in case of shop fabrications, quality control is better. While in case of field fabrication, quality control may not be as better as we can expect in the shop fabrications. So similarly, like you can see, welding safety factor in welding can be 1.25 in case of shop fabrication, but while in case of field, it is increased 1.5. Why? Because the quality control cannot be ensured to be a good as compared to in the shop fabrications. Similarly, like I was saying, for the serviceability criteria, deflection is largely the major criteria that we consider in case of designing steel structures. So we need to ensure that the deflection which is coming in the structure will not exceed the permissible limit. So those permissible limits are defined in the IS code. And so if you refer table 6 of IS 800/2007, then this table you can see. So it shows the type of building and deflection vertical. So vertical deflection, there are limits for different members. So these limits are generally taken while calculating the actual deflection in the member. So deflection can be vertical or maybe lateral. Say, for example, if I again showing the portal frame. So if there are load, so because of this load, deflection can be like this. So this deflection will be known as vertical. While if there are wind load, so this member can deflect like this. So this deflection will be known as the lateral deflection or horizontal deflection. Okay. So like in industrial building, for vertical deflection, these are the limits. In case of industrial building, subjecting with the lateral deflection, lateral deflection can be due to the crane or due to the wind pressure. So for that, there are different deflection limit. So these are the deflection limit given for the lateral load. Similarly, for other buildings, vertical and lateral deflection can be this much. So these values are given in table 6. So you can see that. Okay. So in the next part, I will solve an example to using all three methods, and I will show you how these three methods fare with the numerical. Okay. Thank you.